Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Upi Jana Malaba Jaya Giri Madhare Jaya Giri Madhare Yasodanandana Jaya Vachajanandana Yamuna Tira Manachari Jaya Kunjamani Jaya Kunjamani Jaya Radhamava Jaya Kunjamani Upi Janamalava Jaya Girivarunale Jaya Girivarunale Yasodanandana Jaya Rajajanandana Yamuna Tira Manachari Jaya Kunjamani Jaya Kunjamani Jaya Radhamadhuva Jaya Kunjamani Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Bharavadkacharya, also Tata Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanara Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuradam Ki Jai Jagadada Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namo Vishnu-padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Chinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pajani Nivashesha Shinyavadi Paschacha Deshatarni Omaganata Varanda Shah Gananjana Shlakya Chakshur Unmeditam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. So I'm very happy to be able to address the devotees on the occasion of the celebration of, I guess, my appearance or birth, as the case may be. So, anyway, so there's several things I want you all to remember. Actually, there's about 3 or 4 things. One thing is, or 3 things are, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Why do I say 3? Because there's 3 parts of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And many people talk about the esoteric parts of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, such as teaching about the gopis and conjugal love and all those nice things. But I'm going to talk about the things that apply to us, regardless of how advanced you actually think you are. Because I think that many of us are an illusion insofar as our understanding or our speculation on the level of advancement that we are on at the present time. So let's talk about the 3 most important, let's say, objectives in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And of course, some of you have heard me talk about these things before. That's Jiva-daya, I got it, Vaishnava-seva, and Namaruchi. And those 3 are intimately connected. Of course, let's address Jiva-daya first. So Jiva-daya means compassion for jivas. What is a jiva? A jiva is an individual soul that inhabits or controls different bodies within this material world. So in other words, an ant has a jiva. An ant is not a jiva. A human being is not a jiva. And a human being has a jiva soul controlling it. We have to use the exact language. And so one has to yastu sarvani bhutani atmane vanapashati sarvabhuteshu chatparaptatona vigagupshate. One has to see the jivas equally, not the bodies equally. Bodies are different. So one has to see the jivas equally. That's called samadarshi. Vidya vidya sambhane brahmani avihashtani. Shuni chaiva swapakicha pandita samadarshana. I think you all know that verse, and if you don't, look it up. It's from Bhagavad Gita. So seeing all living entities equally means even seeing yourself in comparison or in connection with those other living entities, and that leads, of course, to para dukkha dukhi. That's an important part of the Jiva-daya mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In other words, considering others' happiness and distress more important than your own happiness and distress, and not discriminating on the basis of body or species or nationality or any of those things, but feel that equal compassion towards all living entities. I'll give you an example that I experienced recently. I'm not saying that I experience compassion towards all living entities, but here's an instance where I happened to experience compassion. Once upon a time, this was about a week ago, I was preparing was it breakfast or dinner? It was dinner. And I was at the sink. And the sink is used for washing different things. And I noticed in the sink, there was a millipede. A millipede is an animal with thousands and thousands of legs. And this millipede was struggling to get out of the sink, climbing up the wall of the sink, and it kept falling back. And I was feeling, oh my God, how can I help this living entity? I understood that if I helped it get out of the sink, it would die sooner because it needs a moist circumstance because it comes out of the drain. That's interesting too. And if I sent it back to the drain, it may die. Or if I put it outside, it may die. It would die, actually. So these thoughts were going through my mind. I said, Krishna, what should I do? What should I do? This is an instance of compassion. I'm not claiming that I always have these instances, but it happened. And I was thinking, oh my God, I was just like going over and over and over and over and over again in my mind. What should I do? And then eventually I decide whatever I do, it may cause more problems. So just leave it there in the sink. And unfortunately, a few hours later, I noticed that it dried and died. Of course, I did chant to it. So that's also an understanding. We can't change a living entity's karma. We want to help them in all sorts of ways, materially, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, etc. But we can't change their karma, but at least we can give them the holy name. So I chanted to it when I first saw it. So there's how we should feel, an instance or an example of how we should feel towards all living entities. And that includes all human beings. And not having anyone or anything or any animal or any entity that we hate. That's what this Upanishad says in that nice verse that I quoted in the beginning. So that's Jiva-daya. And that Jiva-daya comes from good chanting, intense chanting, pure chanting. And that leads us to Vaishnava-seva. Because that pure chanting, see how I'm connecting all these things, that pure chanting can only be achieved if one serves the Vaishnavas, because one only gets the mercy of the Lord by serving the Vaishnavas. That's a fact. Like Lord Shiva, of course, everyone's familiar with this quote, Radhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Radhanam Param Tasmat Parataram Devi Tvariyanam Samarchanam. That of all types of worship of Vishnu is supreme, worship of Vishnu's devotees is even more supreme. So Krishna gives us special mercy because devotees are repositories of bhakti. Actually, it's said in the Madhurya Kadambini that Krishna doesn't give bhakti. Bhakti is independent, and bhakti resides in the hearts of the devotees. Krishna say Tamar, Krishna dite par. As stated, Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me. And therefore I'm simply running behind you shouting, Krishna, Krishna. So we should approach all Vaishnavas and be enthusiastic. Not discriminating who is an old Vaishnava, who is a new Vaishnava, who is a Vaishnava in this type of body, a female body, a male body, of course, serving appropriately, of course, according to the circumstances, and just dedicating yourself to pleasing the Vaishnavas. And of course, our topmost Vaishnava, this is actually the fourth concern, but I'm bringing it in as part of the three. The topmost Vaishnava in the Krishna consciousness movement is His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we want all the devotees to be dedicated to his service. And that means we're all connected to him. We should renounce any sort of sectarian concern insofar as who you're initiated by, or what part of the world you come from, or what are your political beliefs, or what is the color of your skin, which is ridiculous. What is your gender? Everyone is connected to Prabhupada. Or throw away sectarian beliefs. As I've advised the devotees who work with me, that I personally don't want, let's say, any special disciple meetings or things like that. I want devotees just to consider themselves one family under Prabhupada. And we are happy if anyone is connected to Prabhupada through any of Srila Prabhupada's bona fide representatives. No one is better or worse than another. We just want to connect with Prabhupada and serve Prabhupada's mission. My whole life is dedicated to pleasing Prabhupada and Prabhupada's mission. That's kept me going throughout all these years, just pleasing His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and considering that I have a very big family around the world, and that family is Srila Prabhupada's family. So that's the second point. Vaishnava-seva and serving the Vaishnavas. I just consider all the Vaishnavas my friend. I consider all the Vaishnavas worthy of service. And I don't think in terms of my hierarchical position, oh, I am a guru. No, that's my service. But my actual situation is Gopi Bharta Parakamala. Dasa, dasa, dasanu, dasa. That's my actual situation, and I don't forget that. So I'm rendering service in different ways, but actually I want to be friends with all the Vaishnavas, to love all the Vaishnavas, and serve them. Remember this. And, of course, the third one is Namaruchi. So you see how they're all connected. So through this Namaruchi, or if one wants to attain Namaruchi, of course, means a taste for chanting Krishna's name. That can be attained by Jiva-daya and Vaishnava-seva. And when you have Namaruchi, you get Jiva-daya. They're all connected. Jiva-daya. And you become attracted to Vaishnava-seva. So that's really what we're asking for. Right now we're thinking, right now I have no taste for chanting. No taste for chanting. However, if I serve the devotees and I'm compassionate to jivas, then my taste for hearing and chanting will increase exponentially. And of course, I experienced this to a very high degree when I was a young devotee. I'd go on traveling Sankirtan to Srila Prabhupada's books for 11 or sometimes 12 hours a day. And by the time I was finished each day, you would think, this guy, this kid, because I was a kid, is going to be exhausted. I wasn't exhausted. I was shaking in ecstasy. And we would play, that means myself and the devotees, we would play a tape, remember tapes, of Srila Prabhupada chanting, and it was so crystal clear. It was like opening the doors of perception, like cleaning your glasses or opening your eyes for the first time, after an operation. And it was so crystal clear that there was no question that Krishna was showering his mercy. So by that Jiva-daya, which means Prabhupada's book distribution, we experienced this great mercy. And by the serving the other Vaishnavas, we experience great mercy. We get a real taste for chanting the Lord's holy names. And that's the goal of Krishna consciousness. Remember that. And above all, Sharnadapi Sunichena, Tarori Vasishnana, Amanina Amanadena, Kirtaniya Siddhahari. Above all, cultivate humility. Cultivate it, because humility and prema are connected. We find that many devotees, they're renouncing this humility and thinking that they're on a higher level of devotional service than they're actually at. And that's what we call, I think it's Greek or Latin, hubris, which means what? The pride that comes before the fall. So we should think of ourselves just simply as servant of the gopis, or of Krishna, who maintains the gopis, Gopi Bharta, Padakamala, Dasa, Dasa, Dasanu, Das, servant of a servant of a servant of a servant of residents of Vrindavan, especially the gopis, and the other residents of Vrindavan, and especially His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So cultivate this abject humility. If one thinks, Ishwaraham Aham Bhogi Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi, that I am the controller, I am perfect, I am powerful, I am happy, I'm the big whatever, cheese, cahoon, whatever you make. Cahoon is a word from the Hawaiian language, big chief. Then remember, pride goes before the fall. Think of yourselves as a servant. Don't think of yourselves as masters. Remember that. And then you can practically, perfectly execute Lord Chaitanya's mission of Jiva-daya, Vaishnava-seva, and Namaruchi. And so that's my message. On this day, or this commemoration day of my appearance or birth, and please, devotees, pray for me. I'm looking forward to seeing every one of you. And I'm praying for you. And we're one big, happy family. So thank you very much. All glories to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki.